sitting in the driver's seat of the J.W. Coudrey Memorial Organ. In this short video we're going to show you some of the workings and how it all gets put together to make the music that you've been hearing today. So this is a 3-keyboard organ. We have our Swell keyboard, we have our Great Organ keyboard, and we also have the foot pedal keyboard. All these little stops and things make it start and stop. And over on the right here is the switch to make the blower work. So, the blower was installed in 1917, which is 5 years after the organ itself was installed. Come with me now and I'll show you how they used to do it before the electric blower was put in. So we're now around the side of the organ on the western side, and you can see here the slot where the lever used to be. Now, for the first 5 years of this organ, it required an extra person besides the organist to stand here and crank this lever up and down to supply the wind to the organ. The original idea for the organ would be to have this lever out the back, but J.E. Dodd, the builder, he said, it's not good to have these blower guys out of sight, and there's 3 reasons for that. One is, if they're out of sight, then they tend to get a bit distracted and disappear during the sermon, and when the hymn blows up the hymn begins at the end of the sermon, the blower's not there to start up. So that's reason 1. Reason 2 is if he's out of sight, then it tends to gather a group of friends, and again with the distractions. And reason 3 is that around, if it's out of sight, around where the blower handle is, it tends to gather some lewd pictures, carvings and drawings and so forth. So the recommendation back to the church was to have this blower in full sight of the church, and he would be a worshipper as well. We're going to move into the back room now and show you where the electric blower sits and how it works. Come on through. So what we're doing now is we're in the crèche and we're going to have a look underneath the floor. But in order to extract this piece of floor work, first of all we've got to pull a bit of this carpet apart. So in here, this bottom panel comes out. Lay that carefully to one side. And then if I get my screwdriver in here, we'll be able to lift this larger panel out. Lay that also carefully to one side. And down in here is the best kept secret of this church. So this motor is the motor that was installed in 1917. I reckon the cost they quoted was £65 for this, and it was a very big decision for the church back there to put it in. When we did the renovations that were finished in 2008, we redid this wiring. That was all original back from 1917, and the original cloth coated and Bakelite fittings and everything were seen to be unsafe, so that was all changed. But apart from that, this motor is still functioning and running exactly as installed in 1917. So the electric motor drives this massive big fan which blows, if you can look down in there, air up through a wooden chamber, a wooden square tube that takes it up into the back of the organ. Hello, and here we are in the back of the organ. The air comes up from the motor that we just saw under the floor here, through that wooden tube, and out to this duct that you can't see just behind this bit of wall here. I want you to have a look at this part here. This is the main bellows of the organ. On top of it has these large pieces of concrete to hold it down, but when we get the motor up and going, you'll see this rise up. David, turn the motor on. So the motor's spinning up, as you can hear, and up she goes. So this is the main air pressure receptacle for the organ. The weights on top make sure that it's a constant pressure feeding up into the pipes. As I go and fiddle with some of these mechanical things in the back, let's see if I can make a sound. So I'm just going to push on some of these stops here, but they're connected to the main controls for the organist. He just moves those. You can see those beautiful wooden linkages directing the air to whichever way the organist wants it to go to which pipes. And these are the backs of all the keys here. So I can press and you can hear the sound. Beautiful. The organist could just stay completely out of sight. It's like magic. Give us something else, David. Beautiful. And already, in the midst of this amazing machine, we're starting to praise God. So this organ has not only brass pipes, but it also has wooden pipes. And these are the openings to the wooden pipes here. These are usually the lower notes. This is all finished in New Zealand Remu timber. Just as I get David to play this low note, have a look at that air pressure. It's trying to suck this piece of paper right up. Woo! Just kidding, still here. So, it is all just wind. These pipes work like a recorder or a tin whistle, and the wind goes through them and makes like a whistling sound. Here's something, kids, don't try this at home, but I'm going to get one of these pipes out. Have a look at that. Beautiful brass pipe straight from our organ. And I don't want to damage our organ, but I do want to show you that this is just all wind and sound. That's the only note that I can make with that pipe, but there's plenty more that play different notes, and that's where we get our music from. We'll put this one back where we got it from. Safe and sound, ready to play music.